across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
There you are. Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. Stand by for 3 thrilling hours of news, views and topical debate. I'm your host, Kevin O'Sullivan, and I'll be with you all the way to 10 o'clock. It's your show too, so get involved. Get on the phone and call me on 0344 499 1000, or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number, and I promise to play your message out. It is Tuesday, November the 4th. Here's what's coming up. The sick joke of Labour's ludicrous lies continues apace after Rachel from Accounts pretty much confirmed she's going to break all of her promises and tax the hell out of us, and blamed everyone apart from the real culprit, her. In an unprecedented pre-budget warning speech, this utterly useless Chancellor naturally droned on about the imaginary £22 billion black hole she pretends the Tories left behind, but failed to mention the very real £50 billion black hole she made all by herself, with her appalling economy-wrecking £40 billion tax grab budget last October. Naturally, those pesky international headwinds were in Robert Reeves's absurd firing line, and of course Brexit, that democratic decision that this gormless government hates the British people for making. Always Brexit, isn't it? 0344 499 1000. But strangely, as she reeled off a long list of factors that were, she kept stressing, not her fault, there was no mention of the 4.5 billion a year cost of the migrant crisis, 6 million quid a day, that taxpayers are doomed to keep on funding because Keir's clueless crew don't have any idea how to stop the rot. The ridiculous one-in, one-out nonsense has already set us back a fortune, but has achieved the square root of sod all. It's Labour's crashing incompetence that is making us all poor. And soon it's going to get even worse. Isn't that special? 0344 499 1000. Kemi Badenoch called Rachel Reeves's speech at 10 Downing Street a waffle ball, which is exactly what it was. Good phrase, that. A waffle ball. In other news, the word from across the Atlantic is that Donald Trump is furious with the conniving BBC and is set to sue its flagship news programme Panorama for doctoring his famous January the 6th speech to make it look as if he called for a violent insurrection and urged the mob to storm Capitol Hill. He did nothing of the sort. Quite the reverse, in fact. What a mess. After a non-stop procession of scandals, Hugh Edwards, Bob Villan at Glastonbury, the Gaza documentary that failed to mention the teenage host was the son of a Hamas government minister, and now this latest major crisis. Surely it is time for the state broadcasters, Keystone Cop Director General Tim Davie, to walk the plank, to go, to be fired. Just get out of there. You've made a mess of it. 0344 499 1000. Also tonight, we continue with Talk International editor Isabel Oakeshot's amazing interview with asylum seeker hotel whistleblower Adam, who reveals the shocking story of the disappearing Albanians who cross the channel illegally and then go missing, climbing into flash cars, waiting outside their hotels and driving off, never to be seen again. I wonder where they go. Plus, I'll talk to one of the organisers of a massive pro-Palestine march planned in Birmingham on Thursday to coincide with Aston Villa's Europa League game against Maccabi Tel Aviv, from which Israeli fans have controversially been banned. What is this protest actually for? Is it actually more evidence that Britain's second city is undergoing an inexorable process of Islamification? 0344 499 1000. And also, I'll ask if it's okay that the police complaints watchdog has loftily decided there's no need for an investigation into the knife rampage that started the night before Saturday's train stabbing horror. Surely, after the public reported a man marauding from Peterborough to London, there are questions to be answered. 03444991000. And finally, today marks the one-year anniversary of Donald Trump's election triumph over cackling Kamala Harris. We'll assess the Orange Man's presidency so far, how he's changed America, how he's changed the world. What do you think? Let me know. 03444991000. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Tuesday night together. And let's go over right off the bat to my first guest. He is barrister and commentator Stephen Barrett. Welcome, Stephen.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Yeah, and thank you for your contribution last night. Very good. Always good from you. Let's talk about this strange speech that the Chancellor of the Exchequer made today. We've never had this before. It was like softening us up. You know, oh, well, you know, those promises I made about not putting any taxes up, well, you know, I'm going to have to break them, but it's not my fault. It's international financial headwinds. It's Brexit. It's the Tories. It's everyone. It's not my fault. But the headline is she's going to break her promises and she's going to tax the hell out of us, which will go down like a cup of cold sick. But she mentioned all these factors. Oh, her imaginary £20 billion black financial hole that the Tories left, which the Financial Times later said they could find no evidence of. She didn't mention the very real £50 billion black hole that she's made all by herself due to her crushing, economy-killing budget, £40 billion tax grab last October. She didn't mention that. But she talked about Brexit, of course, always Brexit, isn't it? But what she also didn't mention, which is a really important economic factor, is the migrant crisis. The migrant crisis is costing us conservatively at the moment £4.5 billion a year, £6 million every single day. Plus we're spending more and more money on the one-in, one-out scheme. We've got various arrangements being made with this ludicrous border security command. They're going to get another $100 million or pounds to get more drones and surveillance equipment. It's costing us a fortune to the extent that it does affect the economy. And so what we would like to see is this migrant crisis being solved. Instead, what have we got? The one-in, one-out scheme, which is just a national joke. It's just a laughing stock, absolutely pathetic. And plans to put more and more migrants, asylum seekers, into military bases as opposed to hotels. That's it. They've got no clue whatsoever, have they, Stephen, what to do about the migrant crisis. If they could solve it, that would be a real boom for the economy, but not much sign of that solution, I don't think.
Well, they can solve it if they want to, so the obvious conclusion is that they don't want to solve it. But this speech today, I've never seen anything like it. It's the Chancellor committing self-harm, effectively, for the nation. She has harmed the economy merely by giving this speech. You know, all of the economic indicators went down immediately after she finally finished her word salad.
I'll hand it to Kemi Badenoch. She called it a waffle ball, which is a good expression. Actually, before you go on, Stephen, let's have a little listen to Rachel Reeves's waffle ball this morning in number 10 Downing Street.
I will make the choices necessary to deliver strong foundations for our economy. My budget, led by this government's values of fairness and opportunity, and focused entirely on the priorities of the British people: protecting our NHS, reducing our national debt, and improving the cost of living.
Yeah, that's all going swimmingly, isn't it? And before we talk, Stephen, one more film clip, but this is Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leader, revealing her disdain for the speech that Rachel Reeves made today.
The Chancellor's speech was one long waffle bomb. A laundry list of excuses. She blamed absolutely everybody else for her own choices, her own decisions, her own failures. She claims she will focus on the priorities of the British public. Whose priority is it to pay more tax? It is basic economics that if you tax something, you get less of it. Remember those graduates who aren't finding work? Some people are blaming AI. It's not AI's fault. You can draw a direct line between what Rachel Reeves did in the budget last year and the dire prospects that many of those graduates are facing now.
I'm finding Kemi Badenoch more and more easy to agree with. I think she's absolutely right there. And that was a waffle bomb from the Chancellor. But you know, what's very sinister about it is it's quite clearly an exercise in softening up the electorate so that we know what to expect. So she's basically, this morning, she said, oh, you know that manifesto pledge? And you know when I said last year my £40 billion tax grab will be the very last? Well, turns out I was lying. It's not going to happen. There is going to be a huge tax raid on the long-suffering British public.
Yeah, and it's hard to not conclude that they're doing all of this deliberately. I mean, is she so... She'd have to be phenomenal. I don't believe she's stupid enough to believe the things that she says. So actually looking at her, I'm starting to worry that she's...
I do. I believe she's stupid enough. I do.
Well, I mean, you know, she's a properly educated person. And we know all this from... I mean, I was taught all of this about the 1970s, that you cannot... You know, Churchill said you cannot tax your way to prosperity. The Laffer curve is real. You know, she raised taxes last budget. This is her second budget, and she crashed the economy, lost us loads of jobs, and now her black hole is from her own damage. So she's just going to move us further along this doom spiral. She cannot possibly not know that. I don't believe she doesn't know it. And I do start to worry that she's starting to look a bit ill. I worry about her health. I'm not, you know, that outburst, we all ignored it. And I think probably that was because she was a woman. If she was a man and she'd suddenly started crying in the House of Commons, I think we would have asked very serious questions about mental health. And I think we just didn't do that because it's a sort of reverse sexism. It's a sort of patronizing, oh, well, she's just a woman, so maybe that's why she cried. I mean, that's 1950s logic, if any there was one. Why did she cry in the House of Commons? She must know that she's destroying the economy. She is destroying the economy. We're all going to get poorer. We can't afford to service the debt we've already got. This is not rocket science. You know, this is not complicated in any way. I think having these ideals 100 years ago is sort of forgivable when people were broadly, you know, most people weren't educated. People like my granny, you know, didn't even get O-levels, as they were then called, you know, and so you could tell the public things which were obviously stupid but sounded a bit clever. We're all so highly educated now. Surely nobody believes that increasing taxes is going to do anything other than hurt the economy. Nobody can believe that. I don't believe them when they say that.
Exactly. She's going to do it again, and it's probably going to be worse this time. And what we discovered last October, the biggest tax grab in modern history, £40 billion. She said she needed to do this to repair the damage left by the Tories, blah, blah, blah. They keep saying that. Everything is the Tories' fault, isn't it? The fact that I don't know if they really think the public are buying this claptrap, but just in case they do think that, if you're watching Rachel, if you're watching Keir, we're not buying a single damn word of it. This is all your fault. And when she imposes this necessary, massive £50 billion tax grab on us, probably, it's going to kill the economy even more. I mean, going forward, two massive tax grab budgets in a row. I mean, that is you know, administering cyanide to the economy. It will kill it stone dead, won't it? So going forward, this next budget, it won't improve matters. She talk about fixing the foundations. It won't do that. It'll just make things even worse. As you say, this is a doom spiral.
She said she had fixed the foundations last time. She clearly didn't, and she created her own black hole. There's also incredibly stupid things they're doing, like giving away money to Pakistan to buy condoms, giving away the Chagos
It's only
Islands.
£111 million for Pakistani family planning. Come on, that's a
Well, the
reason.
Chagos Islands is an awful lot more than £100 million. It's that's up there in the 40 billion bracket, and we'll have to pay to lease a base from it. I mean, this government is self-harming our country. Why they're doing it actually interests me much more than the fact that it's happening, because it's so obvious that it's happening. They cannot possibly believe they're helping or fixing anything.
Why
are
think
they doing this?
I think it is. You're giving them too much credit. I think we are trapped in a swirling mass of massive incompetence. These people are hopeless. They are hopeless. I mean, I refer to the migrant crisis. What are they doing about that? Nothing. Well, the only thing they hope about the migrant crisis and various other crises that we've got is that, for a couple of days something will happen and it'll take our eyes off it. We won't concentrate on it. We won't think about it. That's all they are hoping that will happen with all this mess they're making. And it's not going to fly. There is this feeling that we are in the hands of incompetent, hopeless idiots.
Well, if they believe any of this, then that's all that they can possibly be. The general public, I think, if we bear any shoulder of the blame, it's that during the Blair years and perhaps even the Cameron years, because everything was fine, we vaguely ignored politics. And I think that may have allowed politicians to get rather big heads and think rather more of themselves than they ought to have done. We're all now paying attention because everything is absolutely falling apart. I mean, all crime is at an all-time record low. The cost of living crisis will be directly impacted by the theft crisis we have. It makes products more expensive. That's just simple economics. But we are now paying much more attention, and they don't seem to be up to the ball. These people are they'd be low-grade admin officers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Rachel from accounts,
Yeah.
Well, listen, why don't we park that there? We'll go to break now, and I want to talk about the BBC and Donald Trump, which is another crisis for the state broadcaster, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. We are hearing that Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, is furious with our state broadcaster, the BBC, and is set to sue over Panorama apparently completely doctoring a speech he made back in 2021. You remember, didn't like the result. He lost to Joe Biden. He says he didn't. And there was an insurrection, if you like. There was this storming of Capitol Hill. BBC, or the Panorama, its flagship news programme, screened this version of his speech that made it look as if he called for violent insurrection and called for the mob to storm Capitol Hill. He did nothing of the sort. In fact, he did quite the reverse. This is an egregious twisting of the facts. And we learned recently Mr. Trump is not one to let this kind of thing pass. He won't let it go. So we are expecting a major lawsuit soon from the President of the United States of America suing the BBC. Which will be pretty unprecedented, and it will cause massive headaches for our state broadcasters. So we'll talk about that after this break.
this is an attempt by Sinn Féin to rewrite history, to make the British Army the aggressors and the IRA paramilitaries somehow into freedom fighters. This Labour government has done a sordid backstairs deal with the Irish government in the Republic. Do they stand with army veterans, without whom there never have been a Good Friday Agreement, or do they stand with Sinn Féin? That is going to be a choice for them. We stand with the army veterans.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. The BBC's Verify department, it's got 61 staff with an annual wage bill of £3.3 million. What's it for? I mean, the BBC keeps getting things terribly, terribly wrong. And what other... how can an organisation be so pompous, so self-satisfied that says, well, you know, we'll check our own facts, thank you very much. Well, that's great. They're always going, BBC reporters always go, according to BBC Verify, you know, as if that is, you know, the holy grail. That must be, oh well, if BBC Verify have confirmed it, it must be true. This is the department that mixed up acres with hectares and therefore got some agricultural information wrong. You know, it's always getting things wrong. It's the worst thing that the BBC has ever done. It's an absolutely pompous, useless, pointless waste of time, and they're in trouble again. They're in trouble again. This time it's serious, very serious. Stephen, let's... well, look, we're talking about Panorama. Back in 2021, when Donald Trump claimed he'd been robbed of the presidency, should have won the election against Biden. There was that insurrectionist march by the mob onto Capitol Hill. We all remember that. And the Panorama show, in a programme they put out last month, they made it look, they made it look as if he made a speech that actually urged the public to launch that march on Capitol Hill. Well, he didn't. Well, first, this is Gordon Rayner. He's an associate editor at the Daily Telegraph, explaining exactly what happened.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
See what I mean? You know, they're in big trouble here. Now, only recently, the president, Donald Trump, sued CBS television in America, funny enough, for their programme 60 Minutes, which is sort of America's answer, if you like, to Panorama, very revered 60-hour-long documentary series that millions watch, big show over there. They put out a version of a Kamala Harris speech, which he said was doctored and censored to make it look very bad for him. And in fact, he was right. And they ended up paying him $16.5 million. That was actually paid for by CBS's parent company, Paramount. So he's got form with this. And after his son, Donald Trump Jr., actually posted on social media this, the fake news reporters, he put that in quotes, the fake news reporters in the UK are just as dishonest and full of SHIT as the ones here in America. After Donald Trump Jr. posted that, you can take it that the Trump family is furious, and it looks to me, Stephen, as if the president will sue Britain's state broadcaster.
Well, I mean, there's certain points to make. The first, I think, is that just to say the BBC has behaved disgracefully. I mean, if you did this, Kev, I would never let you hear the end of it, and I would expect Ofcom to haul you over the coals, and I would say that that was right. This is simply utterly morally reprehensible by the BBC. It is not something the BBC should ever have done, and there must be consequences, and we'll probably return back to that. All I felt I could do was send a tweet saying that I sent my personal apologies to Donald Trump, and I'm glad to say that's had 1.8 million views. So I think people notice that this is not a nice thing. This is a wrong that has been done to an entirely innocent man. If he sues us, the danger is that the BBC will just end up paying for it. I mean, that.
I know we end up paying it, but that's a danger, and it's not a satisfactory situation. But you know, if a broadcaster, media outlet makes this kind of mistake, they have to pay for it. What the question now has to be, Stephen, surely the Keystone Cops Director General, who's been there since 2020, Tim Davian, presided over just a procession line of ludicrous scandals. Surely this must be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Surely he has to go on this one. We're talking about the Hugh Edwards saga, the awful saga of their main newsreader turning out to be a paedophile. Bob Villan at Glastonbury, the anti-Semitic death to the IDF that the BBC so generously broadcasted. The Gaza documentary that failed to mention the teenage host was the son of a Hamas government minister. All of these had to be sort of grovellingly apologised about. And now this is big, this is serious. You know, someone's got to go this time. At the BBC, usually in times of strife, deputy heads roll. Well, this time I think the top head has to roll. The Director General has to go on this one, I think.
Yeah, I think the Director General has to go. I think in a functioning country, the minister would denounce the BBC, and I'm pretty sure that's Lisa Nandy. But we should have the government actually decry this. This is an international incident. They are our closest ally. You know, you must stay on side with the President of the United States, or you're a lunatic, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. You put British national security at risk if you don't side with the United States. That is simply lunacy. So I think we do need a national response. I think the Director General has to go. And then I think we have to accept that communism/socialism, whatever you want to call it, has infected the BBC, and that the long march through our institutions is complete. And it hasn't resulted in a communist paradise. It's resulted in things like this, which are an actual national disgrace, which are going to cost us potentially millions of pounds we don't have at a time when we're not in the best of places. And I think we need to structurally fix the BBC. They don't know what the word impartiality means, Kevin.
No, they've lost track. I mean, which is extraordinary. And because of this, people are saying, well, why am I paying 180 quid a year, you know, for a broadcaster with a news service that basically lies and twists the truth, is biased, its coverage of the Gaza conflict is a national disgrace. It really has been totally anti-Israel, totally pro-Palestine. You're quite right, but interesting what you just said there. I'm going to just check that with BBC Verify. Have a look at this.
What's the most surprising thing that you have had to do to combat disinformation?
So I had to geolocate a bear in Mexico eating somebody's quesadillas or tacos.
Well, I have had to completely ignore tip-offs that were being sent to me in my private messages because they contained fake videos, including deepfakes of me.
So it was surrounding a US government document which identified several tattoos which they said were linked to a Venezuelan international criminal gang. And we actually found one of these tattoos actually was a sleeve belonging not to a man from Venezuela, but to a man from Derbyshire.
What a bunch of dorks. No wonder it messes everything up. God almighty, can you fix it for me? Never to have to meet those three. And there's 60 more like that. Oh, my God. Listen, we better go to break now, but we'll park that. Let me know, folks, what you think about what the BBC appears to have done to Donald Trump. This is very serious to do that to, you know, the leader of our main ally in the world. As Stephen just said, it's an international incident and the BBC's got to sort this out. There's Stephen apologising on Twitter, 1.8 million views. No apology yet from the BBC. They better get their damn act together because this is getting ridiculous. So we're going to go to break now, Stephen. When we come back, we're going to play the second instalment of Isabel Oakeshott, our Talk's international editor, her interview she did with an asylum seeker hotel whistleblower called Adam. So we're going to play that when we come back. I'll tee it up, but in the meantime, see you in a minute.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Okay, basically this Isabel Oakeshott, Talk's international editor, has done this incredible interview with this guy called Adam, who used to work in an asylum seeker hotel, witnessed a lot of stuff that dismayed and shocked him. So after he was made redundant, he decided to go back in and sort of film what was going on there. We covered the story yesterday, the extraordinary story of how when he posted his film on YouTube, he got like 250,000 views. A few days later, 10 riot cops banged on his door, a house that he shares with his disabled mother, sort of burst their way in, took all his electronic equipment, and he says, well, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? They said, well, you're on film. You stole a pasta meal. So basically he sat down with a few of these migrants, these asylum seekers, and had a plate of pasta, chicken pasta. He estimates that that meal cost 77p. So he's been arrested for that but not charged. But the heavy-handed nature of the raid on his house tends to indicate that this government will do anything to stop people telling us taxpayers the truth about what happens behind the closed doors and the security gates of these asylum seeker hotels. They're very keen to keep this a top secret. But anyway, this is part 2 of Isabel's amazing interview with Adam, in which she talks about the strange, mysterious case of the disappearing Albanians. Check it out.
My name's Adam, I'm 32 years old, and I've worked in a migrant hotel from 2021 until 2024.
How did you like the job?
It was different, it was very different, because I've worked in hotels all my life, so I thought it would be more of the same. Made a couple of good friends, but then there was also a lot of stuff that I thought people need to know about this.
That actually picks up on something I was going to ask, which is how well did you get to know some of them? How long would they be there for? And did you actually build up some nice relationships?
Yeah, well, it's a big variation, you know, it's A to Z. Some of them were there for a matter of days. The longest was there 18 months. Some of them absolutely cracking guys, in my opinion. I've got them on Facebook, I've got them on Instagram. I've heard the stories, you know, I'd check it every now and then, seeing what they're doing, etc. Some of them, you know, they've spat in my face, they've pushed me to the ground. They caught them trying to sexually assault a female member of staff. So it's a massive range.
So some migrants would stay a long time, you know, many, many months, but others were barely there. I mean, I think from what you've said, some sort of hardly stayed a night.
Yeah, so it was the rule was when I was there, they would have to check in once every 3 days to keep the room.
Right.
A couple of months before my hotel closed, they actually increased to 7 days because they said they didn't have enough time to see family or tour the country or do whatever they want, etc.
So just to be clear, so they only have to, when you say check in, is it literally sign a form, or how does it work?
Usually they do it at a meal time, so when they come in for a meal, there'll be a circle officer and they say room 110, and then they'll get a tip.
Right, and you only had to do that once a week?
Yeah,
to keep the hotel?
Yeah, once every 7 days, and some of these guys, we had a couple of guys who would only come on a Sunday evening. So they would come on Sunday evening, have dinner, and then you'd see them leave, and then they wouldn't come back until the next Sunday afternoon. So you would see them for a couple of hours every 7 days just to keep their room, just in case they wanted. They must be staying somewhere else, but then Circle would be paying for that room for the full 7 days.
And what about, you know, the sort of different nationalities, different groups? They've obviously got different ways of being. What did you notice about who would stay longer, who would stay shorter?
So there was, you know, at the peak, I think we had 18 different nationalities.
Wow.
A lot of them were Middle Eastern, North and East Africa, a couple of Central Africas, but we even had guys as far as El Salvador and Vietnam.
Wow.
2022, we had a lot of Albanians come over. And with the Albanians, it became a running joke. I mean, it's not actually that funny, but it was actually a joke in the hotel how the 50 to 60 that we had, none of them stayed more than 48 hours. The most interesting one, I'd say, is Circle got a call. Obviously, I didn't work for Circle, but obviously we liaise quite well. And they said, we've got 16 Albanians coming over from Gatwick, whether it's just Gatwick Airport or Gatwick Town, I don't know. So they're coming over in 2 minibuses. So I said, okay, so we've got the rooms ready. A couple of hours later, the Circle get a phone call. Apparently stopped off at the M6 services and 4 had just run out.
Right. So that went down to, what was it, 16 minus 4, so 12 are coming.
So 12 turn up on the grounds. When the doors open, another 3 just run off straight away.
Right.
So are we down to...
They were down to 9 now.
They're down to 9. So these 9 get inducted by Circle, get given the rooms. 3 hours later, another 5 leave.
Wow.
And just walk straight out the front door.
Wow.
Next morning, there's 4 left. They come down and have the breakfast, and we're like, how long are these guys got to stay? They literally had the breakfast, packed the bags, and while they disappeared into the rooms, I see this 7 Series with new 7 Series blacked out windows, like 80 grand car. We're all looking like, who's this guy here? Anyway, the 4 Albanians go out, headstone, with the bags. They walk to the car, and I said to security, the Circle officers, I went, the last of them guys are leaving. They went, okay. I went, are you not going to stop them? And he said, this isn't a prison. If they want to find alternative accommodation, we're not here to stop them. I says, well, where are they going? And he said, well, if they don't tell us, how would we expect it to know? And then they got in the car and never be seen again. And this happened 5, 6, 7 times, up to the point where you had the Albanians at the circle going, you know what, I'm not even going to put them on the system until they're here a couple of days. I'm going to leave the paperwork on the side because it's not worth my time popping them onto the system properly, because we all knew 48 hours maximum and they'd be gone to be never seen again, and nobody knows where they are, I'm guessing, to this day.
So talk about the general standards of behaviour in the hotel. I'm just thinking, like, on any given day, was it usually quite calm and everything just sort of ticks along? Or on an average day, would there be some form of trouble?
Yeah, so the hotel I worked at, it was actually known for being one of the quieter ones.
Right.
So day to day, it was pretty quiet. A lot of the gentlemen we have, they would leave at 7, 8 in the morning, and then they wouldn't return till 6 o'clock at night for dinner time.
Where do you think they went during those times?
Potentially illegal working, or I couldn't say, to be honest, where they went, but they definitely have inroads to be out for the day. Every so often, when you will get a new SU, which is service users, it's a circle term, and what we say, they would upset the apple cart. So what one of the asylum seekers that were basically behaved badly in another hotel, they would send them to a good hotel just to try and, put them with good people in it, and they may calm down, but every now and then it would upset the apple cart quite well.
If an asylum seeker, one of your service users, behaved badly, what could you do about it?
So all the behavioural stuff was done by Serco. If they broke the rules, they would get a warning. 3 warnings and you're out. If you didn't sign in for 3 days, when it used to be 3 days rather than 7, you will get what you call kicked out, and you would lose the room.
Right.
So, however, with that, you think, okay, if they've lost a hotel room, they're going to be homeless.
Yeah.
So the process was, I got told this directly from Serco, they would tell the asylum seeker, you have to go to the local police station, declare yourself homeless and you're an asylum seeker, and then they will ring the Home Office Serco and pop you back into the system, and they'll put you in another hotel. So if me or you, God forbid, we ever become homeless, if you go to the police station and say I'm homeless, I think they'd say, what are you going to do? What do you want us to do about it?
Yeah.
But if you say if you're homeless and asylum seeker, they legally have to house you.
Wow.
So then they will just pop you in another hotel.
So it's a merry-go-round, or not very merry for some of the people involved.
Yeah.
And how do you feel now, a bit of time has passed as well, just about the whole system? The government keeps saying it's going to shut down migrant hotels by the end of, I think it's, within the end of this parliament, so by 2029 probably. And those asylum seekers will be housed in different settings. Do you think that's a good thing, or have you got mixed feelings about that?
It's a completely broken system. So when if they close a hotel and then you have 1,000 come in the next day, the problem is now with the backlog. So I'm still speaking to a couple of the asylum seekers who've been here 3.5 years and their asylum claim isn't being processed. So we're housing them for them 3.5 years. Even if we reject them, we've housed them for 3.5 years for no reason. So you need to speed up the asylum claims. You need to also make sure people are genuine, because from what I'm seeing, a lot of them are just coming with a story. They're going to a human rights lawyer and they pick out 5 stories. It's like, okay, I'll pick out story 3.
Yeah.
So the whole process needs to be sped up, and basically at the end of the day, maybe stop them coming onto the shores from full stop. Because once they're on land, it's so hard to deport them, either from human rights or we don't have returns agreements with other countries.
Yeah.
A Serco spokesperson said asylum seekers in hotels are allowed to enter and exit the premises as they wish. If an asylum seeker is noted as being absent from the site for a period of longer than 7 days, this is reported to the Home Office in line with our contractual obligations. People are only asked to leave our accommodation once the Home Office has made a decision about their asylum claim.
Extraordinary. We're going to go to a break now. When we come back, we'll bring Isabella Oakeshott in, of course, the brilliant journalist conducting that interview with Adam, and we'll get Stephen Barrett's comments as well. So stick around for that.
this is an attempt by Sinn Féin to rewrite history, to make the British Army the aggressors and the IRA paramilitaries somehow into freedom fighters. This Labour government has done a sordid backstairs deal with the Irish government in the Republic. Do they stand with army veterans, without whom there'd never have been a Good Friday Agreement, or do they stand with Sinn Féin? That is going to be a choice for them. We stand with the army veterans.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Still with barrister and social commentator Stephen Barrett, but welcome to the show, the conductor, the brilliant conductor of that excellent interview, Isabel Oakeshott. Thanks again, Isabel, for a remarkable series of revelations, really, from this guy, Adam. I mean, you know, the disappearing Albanians. I mean, Albanians are such a significant portion of the migrants that come into this country. For example, in 2022, 12,600 Albanians crossed the Channel. But what Adam is indicating is that many of them just disappear. I've heard these stories before. You know, the untold story of the migrant crisis is the number of migrants who arrive here in these boats, get billeted in a nice hotel, treat it as just a place to kind of freshen up. So they'll wash and shower and shave, and you know, as for the men, who knows what they'll do. No, seriously. So they wash, shower and shave, have a dinner, go down for breakfast the next day, and then just disappear. Well, the Albanians are obviously doing this on an industrial scale. We're hearing about, you know, BMW 7 Series limousines outside these hotels, the Albanians finishing breakfast into the flash cars, disappearing into the sunset, never to be seen again. Where do you think they go?
Well, I think we need to call this what it is. These are criminal gangs, and they are quite probably part of the whole people trafficking network. You know, our understanding of what is really going on in northern France is pretty limited, I would say. I've been doing quite a lot of work on this in recent weeks, and I'll be bringing more to talk on that subject. But, you know, this is far more complex than people imagine. This isn't the case of, you know, a bunch of impoverished people scraping together as much as they can to pay for their fare to come over to the UK, where they live blameless lives. It's very different to that, but I'll say more about that later. What I would say about Adam's interview there is I actually hadn't realised that asylum seekers were not required to actually use their hotel rooms. I mean, I think this is completely outrageous. I mean, either you're fleeing war and terror and you're grateful to be given refuge in the UK at the expense of the British taxpayer, and you need that hotel room, or you don't. You don't get to come and go. What kind of insanity is that? You either need it and you accept it, or you don't, and if you don't need it, then you're not an asylum seeker. You can't have it both ways, and yet we have got a system in which not only do you, in the past, it was sort of, you had to check in every 3
days. Now it's 7. You know.
And that's pretty generous.
Soon it'll be a fortnight, won't it? It's a really slapdash system. Let's bring in a legal brain, shall we? Stephen, what do you make of this? Because what Isabel and Adam are sort of revealing is we're presiding over a system whereby these people, be they Albanian or I guess other nationalities as well, break into our country illegally. We then put them in these hotels, announce, well, they're not prisoners, they're free to come and go as they wish, and many of them do go. So we basically say, welcome to the country, here's a nice hotel, freshen up, and then they disappear into the national ether, never to be seen again. So what we're doing as a government, as a country, is sponsoring illegal entry into this country on a long-term basis. What's going on here?
Yes, well, I think the first point to make is to give huge credit to Isabel, because I strongly suspect online people will say incredibly rude things about her. But it is remarkable that of the journalistic
especially
class,
me.
well, of the journalistic class, only she shows interest in this issue.
Yeah.
But I think the public need to know an awful lot about this, and the public have every right to know about this. If anything made my blood boil, it was the word service users. This is absolutely outrageous. These are criminals who break into our country, and the only reason they can disappear, Kevin, is because we have rules about whether you can work or not work. They're obviously going into criminality. There is nowhere else that these people are going, and that will be the drugs trade, it will be other types of illegal working. I strongly suspect, I have a lot of sympathy for a lot of these young men, because I think they end up working in those car washing places that we now seem to have everywhere across the land. When I was a child, machines washed cars, not young gentlemen who no doubt work for tuppence and live in a slum. I mean, let's be honest about this. We are importing a slave class, we are importing criminality, and we're paying for the entirety of this joke. And, you know, I don't have very long left, so just flag the veterans. Every single town's got homeless veterans, and they don't get treated like this. Yeah. Why on earth can't we treat our veterans? You know, I've got a poppy on. Why on earth can't we treat our veterans like this?
Absolutely. So, Isabel, as I was just saying, what we're doing here as a nation is essentially, this is state-sponsored illegal entry of this country. Come on in, we'll put you in a hotel, and then you just disappear. That's against the law. And yet, we are presiding over that system almost officially. It's ridiculous.
Well, here's a really simple solution. If we can't, in fact, detain and deport these people, how about they're forced to wear electronic tags? You know, the Serco say they're not prisoners. I actually think they should be. If you break into our country, you should be detained. That's what other countries do. Why should we treat them in such a luxurious way that you get total liberty just to disappear?
Yeah, what we need to do, Stephen, I think you and I have discussed this before, as I say, a lot of these lefties, they go, oh, you see, the thing is once these migrants, these cross-channel migrants, set foot on Dover Beach or Folkestone Beach, they become instantly legal because they apply for asylum. No, they don't. That is a political decision. We've made a political decision to override the fact they've broken our law. And now we learn from Adam and Isabel that this law-breaking that we choose politically to turn a blind eye to continues to the extent that they just disappear into the country. This is madness.
Just don't let them tell you that the laws dictate which policies your country has. Okay, I am a lawyer. I am a servant in that position, not a master. I don't tell you what policies on immigration your country should have. A proper lawyer should just draft lawfully the ones that you want to have. Any policy that the British people want on migration can be lawfully enacted. It just has to be written correctly. That's all. And that, to be honest, is not that tricky. I mean, I don't want to pretend I've got magic powers. It's not that hard. You're non-lawyers, but you could learn how. You know, it doesn't take that long to learn how to do this. But that's the great switcheroo, where for years they've been able to say, oh, well, the law says, or international law says, and therefore you've got to be treated like a complete joke. But our nation is being rinsed. Yeah. There is no other word for it.
That's a good way of putting it, isn't it, Isabel?
It is, and I absolutely love what you say, Stephen. And I'm sure you could advise a future government to do how to do things better than this sorry set of clowns is managing. Surely it can't get worse than this.
They really can't. Well, listen, both of you, thank you. Isabel, we'll talk tomorrow night. Thanks for this amazing interview. Adam, what a story, and it's ongoing. Stephen, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Stephen Barrett there, lawyer, barrister, social and political commentator, ace tweeter, and Isabel Oakeshott, our international editor, who will be back tomorrow night for more of the same. So we will talk through some of the astonishing revelations that have been coming out of her long interview with Adam, a former asylum seeker hotel manager, saw a lot of stuff that shocked him. They made him redundant, so he thought, I'm going to go in and reveal the truth to the people. Government doesn't seem to like that. They've charged him, or they haven't charged him, they've arrested him on suspicion of stealing a plate of pasta worth 77p. So we'll come back to that tomorrow. Now, after the break, after the news, we're going to talk to one of the organisers of this massive pro-Palestine march planned for Thursday night to coincide with Aston Villa's Europa League game against Maccabi Tel Aviv. Very controversial game. Israeli fans have been banned, and you wonder, well, what's the point of this march then? Because the match is going ahead, but not the fact. So we will talk to one of the organisers to try to find out exactly what the motive is for this massive march. So that next, stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, on Thursday night, Aston Villa, the Birmingham Football Club, are playing Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Europa League Cup. Now, you will remember a couple of weeks ago, controversially, Israeli fans were banned from attending that match on the basis that West Midlands Police said Maccabi Tel Aviv fans tend to attract trouble. Often they're attacked by pro-Palestinian supporters, and West Midlands Police said they weren't sure that they could guarantee people's safety. A lot of people said, well, hang on, you know, you should be guaranteeing people's safety. Isn't this some kind of, you know, Jews are banned initiative that we ought to sort of rail against and make sure these fans can come? But, you know, they're not going to come. The club itself, Maccabi Tel Aviv, sort of agreed and didn't sell any tickets to their fans, so that match will go ahead. But it is planned to coincide with a huge pro-Palestinian march that is planned to bring Birmingham, Britain's second city, to a standstill. They're talking about maybe 300,000 people coming to this march, 700 police ready to monitor it, to be there. So quite a big event. Well, one of the organisers, well, first of all, well, let's bring in one of the organisers. He's lawyer Ahmed Yaqub. Welcome to the show, Ahmed.
Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening. Now, before we talk, I'm going to play the TikTok video that you posted the other day.
The goal is for Maccabi Tel Aviv and all of Israeli teams to be banned from FIFA, for FIFA not to have double standards, like South Africa have banned some time ago for their occupation, like Russia have been banned recently. Israel should also be banned by FIFA. There are groups that are supporting these bans, like Give Israel the Red Card. I was at a meeting yesterday in Aston, and the sentiment of the locals in Aston is that they don't want this Israeli team anywhere near them because of the fact that Israel are committing a genocide and they are illegally occupying land that belongs to the Palestinians. That is the sentiment of the people of Aston and the people of Birmingham. We want this game to be banned.
Well, Ahmed, the game isn't banned. Of course, the Israeli fans are banned from attending. So would you not accept that if the Israeli fans have been banned, the away fans, if you like, isn't that sort of mission accomplished? You know, the local MP, Ayub Khan, for Perry Barr, he got up this petition with Jeremy Corbyn to what they said was to try to prevent the potential for football violence, and it has succeeded. You know, the fans will not be allowed at this match. Isn't that enough? Why do you need this huge march at the same time as the match when Israeli fans are banned from it?
Well, thank God that the fans are not coming, and that's because of the advice that was received from Dutch police by the West Midlands police, and that was purely because of the way the fans behave and the safety of the local residents.
Well, you say, Ahmed, you say the way the fans. You say, just sorry to interrupt. You say the way the fans behave, as if the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans are the ones who always cause the trouble. There's a lot of evidence for the trouble that unfolded in Amsterdam that they were actually set upon by pro-Palestinian protesters. So they didn't start it, they just defended themselves.
Well, they were chanting chants like "Ole, ole, there are no schools in Gaza because all the children have been killed and we will rape your women," and all sorts. They were chanting these chants. So, of course, that's not safe to go around the streets of Birmingham, and especially in Aston. You don't want, we don't want to hear stuff like that.
And at your march, will you ban
women and
okay, but at your march,
children, we don't want to hear that.
Okay, well, I would accept that, but similarly, in the same vein, at your march, will you ban, you know, chanting from the river to the sea or the jihad chants? Will you ban all of that?
What jihad chants are you referring to?
Well, I'm chanting from the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea?
When will Palestine be free?
When will Palestine be free?
Yeah, but you will ban that chant, yes?
I mean, that's not for me to say. I'm not one of the
organisers. No, but you just said that you're against...
I'm not one of the organisers.
Well, but do you think that, do you, as somebody, you know, being on TikTok promoting it, this big march, so would you personally, Kevin, approve of banning from the river to the sea?
If there's over 300,000 people who are attending the march, I'm sure the organisers can't control every single thing that comes out.
But you personally would be against, though, would be against the chanting of from the river to the sea when
I mean, I would be against any chanting of any terrorist slogans. That's why, of course, I don't want the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans here who, of course, shout all these terrorist slogans and all these remarks. And I'm sure you've seen a video, Kevin, recently of IDF soldiers raping Palestinians. And it's all videoed, and that was exposed by an IDF lawyer.
I've seen a lot of I've also seen a lot of videos. I've seen a lot of videos of the way Hamas are behaving. I've seen a lot of videos about that. So if you're going to throw bandy around videos, damning videos, there's a lot of damning videos of the Palestinians, of the Hamas, the way they've been behaving.
Are we talking about the IDF here? Because my argument.
I'm talking about Hamas.
My argument is this: that Israel should be banned from.
Why? Why should it be banned?
Why? Because of the apartheid regime,
Yeah, but that's just your opinion. They haven't actually broken any laws. Israel have not broken any international laws.
FIFA shouldn't have double standards.
Yeah, but wait a second. Ahmed. Israel has not broken any international laws. It is not a legal fact.
Oh, are you a lawyer, are you?
Yeah. It is not illegal. You, as a lawyer, you will know that the requirement for genocide has not been reached. Israel has not committed genocide. That's just your opinion.
No, that's not only my opinion.
It's not a legal fact. Ahmed, you know that. You're a lawyer.
That's the opinion of the International Criminal Court, who actually said there's plausible evidence of genocide.
Yeah, but they haven't said that. Yes, but it is not a legal fact.
It's not my opinion, Kevin.
It's
the court's opinion.
Listen,
court's opinion.
Genocide in legal terms has not been established in Gaza.
There's plausible evidence of it.
Yeah, but that isn't the same as legally establishing that genocide is or has happened. So therefore, when you throw around the term genocide, you actually don't have the right to do it, because Israel is not legally guilty of genocide in Gaza.
Well, they are occupying.
Well, no, but that's your opinion.
And the Maccabi Tel Aviv.
So you can't go around saying Israel must be banned from football tournaments when it hasn't broken any international laws. It is not guilty at this point of any war crime. So why are you saying Israel must be banned from international sport? Because you don't like it, isn't it? You just don't like it.
You should be ashamed of yourself as an Irish to ask me that question. For someone who grew up in Ireland. Trust me.
Well, I didn't grow up in Ireland, as you might be able to tell from my accent, but I like your line.
20,000 people have died, and you are saying that Israel haven't broken any.
Well, they haven't. They haven't.
Ashamed of yourself, Kevin.
But they haven't, Ahmed. They haven't broken any laws. So how can FIFA ban them? You can't ban them on a feeling.
Netanyahu himself condemned the video of this Israeli soldiers raping.
Well, I'm not saying, of course.
And you're sitting here and you're saying they haven't done anything wrong. Kevin, come on.
Well, listen.
Don't be so blind.
Listen, Ahmed.
Don't be so blind.
By the way, I do
be on the right side of history, like the Irish, like the proper Irish. Come on.
Listen, Ahmed, I do appreciate you coming on. Can you bear with me one second? One second. Let me play the local MP, Perry Barr MP. That is the constituency that encompasses Aston Villa. This is Ayub Khan, the MP for Perry Barr, celebrating the ban on the Israeli fans.
Well, excellent news for the people of Birmingham and, most importantly, the residents here in Aston. I launched a petition to oppose the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from coming to Birmingham and then into the Aston Villa Stadium. The surrounding ward of Aston is a ward that sits within my constituency, and I had many residents and businesses express concern of the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from coming into our area. Clearly, we have all witnessed the scenes in Amsterdam, the violence that was displayed by the fans the night before the match. We all watched and listened to those vile chants of hatred and racism, and so there's no space for that kind of behaviour here in Birmingham. There's certainly no space for that kind of conduct in Aston. So I'm very pleased that both the West Midlands Police and Aston Villa Football Club have now written to UEFA informing them of their decision not to allow any fans from entering Birmingham and Aston.
OK, Ahmed, that's the local MP, Ayub Khan. When he says this is great news for the people of Birmingham, great news for this area, what about Jewish people who live in Birmingham? Do you think it's great news for them? It's not, is it? It's not. Oh, it's great news for Jewish people that Israelis have been banned from attending a football match. I don't think it is good news for if you're Jewish. Do you?
Look, you brought me on. Let me answer the question.
All right, go on.
Yeah. I actually emailed Samara saying, don't mute me and let me answer the question.
I'm not muting you.
Okay, that's good. So let me answer the question.
Okay, I'm going to.
In the answer to your question now about the Jews, if you've seen my TikTok, you showed me videos of it, you would have seen a video that I posted last week where Rabbi Beck was there, a few other rabbis from the Jewish community, scholars. They came and specifically said that they are happy that the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans are not coming because of their behavior in Amsterdam. So this ban has nothing to do with being Jewish. It was
a lot of people say, Ahmed, they didn't. A lot of people say they didn't start the fight in Amsterdam, but you've got a point. I mean, because of the controversial nature of Israeli football fans and Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, you're right. They do tend to attract trouble, so I can understand why there were concerns. However, this isn't this an issue of freedom? Shouldn't the Israeli fans have the freedom to attend a football match and watch their team play? Well, why are you in favour of banning this basic human right to go and watch your football team play?
Okay, look, it's a matter of safety. West Midlands
Is that
police,
really? It's just safety.
You're not letting
it's
me
just
talk.
safety, not anti-Semitism. Then.
West Midlands police are the ones who imposed this ban in 2023.
Well, they were advised by the.
Fans were banned from
a lot of us think they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have done it. A lot of us think they shouldn't have done that.
Anti-Polish or anti-Christian? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was simply hooligan fans who were banned in 2023. Celtic fans were banned from going to away games for so long because of what they were doing. They were doing hooliganism. So
yeah, but you're not just objecting to the fact that the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans tend to attract violence. The potential for violence at this match. You're objecting to the fact they're from Israel, aren't you?
I'm objecting to the team playing. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm objecting to the team playing because there shouldn't be double standards in football. If Russia can be banned for their
don't you think
Ukraine, if South Africa were banned for their colonization and apartheid regime, then Israel should be banned.
But your claims about South Africa had a patent and obvious apartheid system, a racist system of dividing whites and blacks. Israel has nothing of the sort.
Okay, there's nothing of the sort. You must be deluded, Kevin, because Palestinians are treated like worthless people in.
But you're a disdain for Israel. A lot of people, Ahmed, have a lot of.
It's not fair.
Yeah, I know. What about Hamas? What about Hamas? They're a bunch of thugs. They're terrorist thugs, aren't they? So, wouldn't Jewish people object to your viewpoint because they object to Hamas? You seem to be supporting Hamas.
I do not support any proscribed organization, Kevin.
So you don't.
I've never said that I support any proscribed
So you do not support Hamas.
And this is not about Hamas. This is about Maccabi Tel Aviv, about them not being allowed to be in this competition. They shouldn't be in this competition. Israel is not even in Europe. So what are they doing in a European Cup? First of all,
that's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest.
Why are Israel in the European Cup and not a Middle Eastern Cup?
Actually, I'd never thought about that. That's an interesting point.
Kevin, do some research.
No, that's an interesting point. It's like the Eurovision Song Contest. Why is Israel in that as well? Why is Australia in it? But that's a different issue. When Ayub Khan, celebrating this ban, says, we don't want these people in our area, what's he talking about? Is that he doesn't want Jewish people in a Muslim area? Is that what he means? What people are worried about here, Ahmed, is what they fear looks like, to many of us, like the Islamification of Birmingham, that this predominantly Islamic city, particularly around Perry Bar, Handsworth, places like that, is a no-go area for Jews. That what we're going to see on Thursday is a huge pro-Palestinian march, which is really a demonstration of Jew hatred.
One thing you will see is proper Orthodox Jews
marching with you?
At the march.
Oh, yeah?
The march.
Really?
Marching with us.
Okay.
Like they did last week.
Well, that's interesting.
They came and made a video outside Villa Park. Like they came and...
So you're saying Orthodox Jews are going to Orthodox Jews are going to join you on this pro-Palestinian march to celebrate the fact that Jews or Israeli fans are banned from this match. Orthodox Jews are going to join you on this march.
Yes, they will be there. And you can see, I'm sure you'll see
Well, I look forward to seeing evidence of that.
Haven't you seen clips with me my clips with Jews outside the Villa ground. Don't say you haven't, because you have, Kevin.
Let me. Can I just play you another clip? This is from a meeting.
Play that.
No, I've got another clip to play you. Just watch this and let's discuss it. This is you.
People who can stay there, doesn't matter what they face. That's what my concern is, sisters. And if there are people there that will run away, we don't want them there. We have to face these people head on. I don't mean fight them, but I mean stay there, grounded. And there's a lot of people in this room that will go. I know they will. Or they will run to the police.
Thank you, friend.
Do you get it? So we need to know who's going to be leading these rallies.
That will be addressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good speech there, Ahmed. What did you actually mean by that? That you don't want
exactly what I said. Exactly what I said.
Yeah.
The people leading the protest should be people who are going to be head on with these hooligans, these far rights, these racists, all of these people with fascist ideologies, Zionists, whoever it is. Someone who needs to lead it needs to be strong, and someone who won't be scared. I specifically said it. We don't want fighting, but we don't want people to run away. We need to stand our ground.
Okay, so that could cause a confrontation, but
Why?
Well, it
Why?
could, couldn't it? It could.
Why could it? Why?
Well, all right, let's hope that it doesn't. And I accept you've made it very clear, Ahmed, that you want this to be a peaceful protest. But can you, and I commend you for that, obviously, but can you tell us 100% that there isn't an element of Jew hatred in this march that's going to happen on Thursday?
I can say 1,000,000%, and I can show you this.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Have a look at that.
Well, I can't quite see what it says. What is it?
No, of course you can see.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's
outside the village.
These are the rabbis protesting against Israeli fans being able to attend a football match at Aston Villa. Yeah.
Yes, that's them. Look.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'd like to know what that.
My very good.
That seems very strange. It seems very strange.
The elections.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people look at this march that you say could bring Birmingham to a standstill, that a lot of people in this march may well be anti-Semitic. I mean, basically, Ayub Khan, the MP there, stands accused of anti-Semitism. Jeremy Corbyn, who also helped to get this petition together for the first time in his long career, taking an interest in football hooliganism. They all stand accused of anti-Semitism. This does seem to be anti-Israel.
Accused. Everybody is throwing that word around now, and any criticism of Israel is automatically labelled as anti-Semitism. And I've seen this for the last couple of years now, and there's a rise in it now.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
there's a rise in people being labelled anti-Semitism.
Well, explain to me why.
As Muslims, we can't be anti-Semitic. Did you know that? Because
well, no offense, not you, but a lot of your Muslim friends, I think.
Our prophet was a Semitic.
So you're telling me that Muslims cannot be anti-Semitic? That it's part of your sacred creed?
Muslims cannot be against any religion. We are taught to coexist with peace and harmony with every religion.
Well, it's not really working out, is it? Particularly, shall we say, in Gaza.
Why not?
Well, the Muslims who invaded Israel on October the 7th a couple of years ago, were they sticking to your creed of you must live in harmony, you must not be anti-Israel? Well, how do they fit into what you're telling me about Muslims?
What about the children?
No, well, tell me that. Those Hamas thugs who massacred.
What about the 1948
Okay, yeah, but never mind what about it. You just told me that it's sacred.
Now then, do you want to talk about history?
No, I want to talk about October the 7th. I want to talk about October. Are you going to answer my question? You can't answer my question. You just told me that it's sacred to Muslims that they cannot be anti-Semitic. What would you describe those Hamas Muslims who invaded?
What would you describe as 1948?
Well, no. Well, are you going to answer my question? Are you going to answer my question?
All those people,
well, they're not exactly being.
Those people from their homes.
Well, the peace and harmony that you talk about wasn't exactly in evidence, was it? On October the 7th.
1948, there was no evidence of people being displaced from their homes.
Do you want to go back further? 1848, 1748?
There's no evidence of that.
Yeah, so do you defend October the 7th then?
So are you telling me there's no evidence
do
of
you
what happened
defend
in
October the
1948?
Tell me about October the 7th. What are your views on it?
What do you want me to tell you about October 7th?
Ahmed, what are your views on October the 7th? What do you think?
October 7th was a terrible attack.
Okay. And didn't really demonstrate that sacred tenet that you told me about Muslims who are not allowed to be anti-Semitic. Wasn't kind of a celebration of Muslims not being anti-Semitic, was it? What happened on October the 7th? The massacre of 1,200 innocent Israelis.
Kevin, let me tell you something. If you live in a house and you let in a stranger, and that stranger then takes over your house, kills your whole family, but leaves your son.
Okay, so you're saying that you're saying October the 7th was justified. You're saying October the 7th was justified then?
No, I'm just explaining a simple.
Yeah, no, you're trying to justify October the 7th.
I didn't mention October 7th.
Well, you did. You just said if somebody.
Imagine a stranger comes into your house. Let me talk.
Yeah.
Imagine a stranger comes into your house.
Yeah.
Kills your family, takes your house.
Like what Hamas did on October the 7th, yeah.
But leaves your young son there.
Yeah.
What's your son going to do?
So you're trying, but what you're saying is, you're saying there are circumstances that justify what happened on October the 7th. I would suggest that there aren't. But listen, Ahmed.
You're putting words into my mouth. I didn't say that.
Well, Ahmed, listen.
I didn't say that.
Listen.
But I did say Israel are committing genocide. And
you're a lawyer. You know that legally that has not been established. Let me just look. It's been good of you to come on. What would you like to say about, as we part company, friends, I hope. What would you like to say about your demonstration, your protest march on Thursday? Just tell me what you want to say. Maybe you want to tell people where they've got to meet or whatever. What would you like to say?
Well, I want to say it's going to be a peaceful march. People from all over the country are going to be joining us, and we're going to be standing in solidarity with the people of Palestine and against Israel, against the apartheid regime of Israel, against the land-grabbing genocidal regime of Israel. And we're going to be showing our frustration by way of protesting. Protesting is our human right. And one day, in our lifetimes, there will be a free Palestine.
Well, listen, fair enough, Ahmed. I gave you your say, and I do appreciate you coming on. Well, I'm going to say, given that you want it to be peaceful on Thursday, you've got every right to exercise your right to protest. I want to wish you well. Hope it's a peaceful march, and all the best. Thank you for coming on. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Take care, man. That was Ahmed. Yeah, he's still. Anyway, well. 03444991000. What did you make of that? I mean, the thing is, the fans are still banned, so you wonder why you're doing this. And the suspicion is that what we will see on Thursday, in all due respect to what Ahmed was just saying, will be a kind of explosion of anti-Semitism, of Jew hatred that these pro-Palestinian marches often showcase. That's what we worry about. Let's hope it is peaceful, and let me know what you think. 03444991000. When we come back, we're going to talk about Portsmouth and its ongoing asylum seeker problem. They have been taking them out of hotels and putting them into houses of multiple occupation, and it seems like good news, because it seems like they've been told there'll be no more of these houses, these HMOs as they're called, but I wonder if we can trust that. We'll talk to a local councillor in Portsmouth next.
Anthony Williams, who we now know has been charged with 11 counts of attempted murder, has now been charged with a further account, allegedly stabbing a 14-year-old boy the day before this attack. Cambridgeshire Constabulary said the teenager was attacked in Peterborough on Friday, what is believed to be one of 3 knife-related incidents carried out by the 32-year-old. The force said he suffered minor injuries and was later discharged. Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, in Portsmouth, one of the South Coast conurbations, including Bournemouth, Southampton, that seems to have taken a real hit from the migrant crisis. Hotels, houses of multiple occupation, lots of protests in Portsmouth. There was a rape there by an asylum seeker, and the local council were revealed. Absolutely, no doubt about it. They tried to keep quiet the fact that the rapist was, or the accused rapist was, an asylum seeker. The word went out to councillors and town hall staff, don't mention it was a council, it was an asylum seeker. Well, that got out. So kind of weird culture surrounding the asylum seeker has taken hold of Portsmouth. Local councillors not so long ago were furious to learn that, unbeknownst to them, they thought, well, we've got these hotels, that's it. But unbeknownst to them, migrants were being sort of secreted into houses of multiple occupation. They now feel that they've got an assurance that there won't be any more of these houses, no more migrants really. Now, let's talk to Reform UK local councillor from down there in Portsmouth, George Madgwick. Hello, George.
Good evening.
Well, look, you've been given this assurance, or you seem to be given a kind of assurance that after your migrant hotel problems, that weird moment where your council, I think you exposed the truth, where your council tried to put a lid on the fact that the rape of a local woman was by an asylum seeker. That got out, but the town hall, the council, were absolutely found out for trying to keep a secret of that fact, which is kind of bizarre. And then you found out that migrants, asylum seekers, were being secreted into Portsmouth, into these houses of multiple occupation that you didn't know about. Obviously infuriating for you. But now you seem to have been told, the government has indicated that Portsmouth has a crisis in social housing, has now, it believes, taken its fair share of asylum seekers, and from now on other areas must be considered for houses of multiple occupation, and I presume hotels as well. So are you convinced, are you happy that you won't be, or you won't have imposed on you more and more migrants from now on?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for that really good introduction. It really sums up what's happened over the summer in Portsmouth. And the one thing you did miss, which we revealed on your show just a couple of months ago, is the 40% off kayak lessons as well that was being given to asylum seekers as well. But
very important, of course.
Yeah, we have had a big issue. and as you say, quite rightly so, that the council were not aware that migrants were being moved into houses of multiple occupancy, and people that live in Portsmouth and from Portsmouth are being evicted from their homes to make way for these. And it come out just a couple of months ago now, we found out we had 700 in Portsmouth. Now, to put that into perspective, we have more asylum seekers living in Portsmouth than every other council authority in the whole of Hampshire combined, which is truly, truly shocking. And we basically been lobbying the government. As you know, there's been active protest, and the government have finally come back this week and said, okay, fine, we will not instruct our third-party contractors, i.e. Clear Springs and Serco, to allow any additional HMOs or family homes to be used to house migrants. That's it. We've capped it. It's finished. And that's obviously great news after a summer of absolute hell, to be completely honest with you, Kevin. As you say, there's been a lot going on in Portsmouth. But do I believe it? Listen, they told us in 2023 and 2024, we had reassurances from the Penny Mordaunt, who was our MP at the time, Suella Braverman, who was the Home Secretary at the time, that we had no more coming here, and we found out that was not true. So I'm sceptical but hopeful.
So I think you got about, am I right, you got about 3,320 or something asylum seekers in total in Portsmouth. Obviously, I assume most of them in hotels, but you've got these HMOs as well.
No. But this is the problem, Kevin. That's not the case. We've only got 70 in hotels. The rest of them have been dispersed without knowledge into house of multiple occupancy and family homes. And this is where the real crux of the problems come. This is where it really blew up, because people in their communities were saying, we've got asylum seekers moving into our house next door, and we were being told by the council, no, that's not happening. That's where it's happened. We've got so many dispersed within our communities here. It's mind-blowing.
Well, I'm assuming that you're going to be seriously on the case and keep a very, very close eye on this to make sure that you're not going to get duped again, because you were duped in the past. You thought your troubles were over, but secretly they were putting more and more migrants, asylum seekers into houses of multiple occupation. You will have to stay on your game, won't you, to make sure this doesn't happen again, because the government is not exactly above board and honest and transparent in these matters, is it?
No, but I do think what's happened in Portsmouth is the residents of Portsmouth really have woke up to this issue. As you said, we've had a summer of protests every single Friday. It's still going on to this day now. No matter what the weather is, it's still going on. People are proactively now engaged with this topic in Portsmouth because, as I said, we have got a huge disproportionate amount in Portsmouth now in comparison to other areas. It's a real problem that you actually notice on your high street. As you said earlier in your conversation, we have had very violent sexual assaults down in Portsmouth. We've had multiple crimes. It's a hot topic, so hopefully people are now vigilant to this and aware of this and will hopefully report it in. But I'll give the council the credit where the credit's due. When they found out that the Home Office hadn't been honest and transparent with them, they were incredibly angry, and as I say, we've now had a real positive result, we hope.
And just to go back to that terrible rape that happened, that they tried to cover up the fact that the rape was committed by an asylum seeker, as I recall, put me right if I'm wrong, the upshot, you helped to reveal this. I remember it got on the front page of the Sun newspaper and everybody picked up on it, was on all the telly and everything. As I recall, in the end, the council essentially said, yeah, we did it, so what? That was about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately it was, yeah. So you'll probably remember we spoke about this on talkTV. It was the first TV interview we had about it. And you're right, the council provided you a statement basically saying, we know we did it, but we did it to stop community tensions, was the word,
God.
Which caused more community tensions, ironically.
Exactly.
And it's just mind-blowing, honestly. But you're right. There was a proactive cover-up. I think everyone now knows that that was happening. It's a complete... we know it's happened. And yeah, you're right. We submitted a complaint in about the chief executive officer. It went to the employment committee. Ironically, the employment committee are made up mainly of Liberal Democrats and Labour. Yeah. And they found that there was no case to answer. And I don't know how that happened.
Well, it's because they're Liberal Democrats and Labour. What is the nature of the council? Who's in charge? What's the dominant party?
It's run by a Liberal Democrat minority administration, okay. So they're propped up by Labour in Portsmouth, and we've now got 7 Reform members and 4 Conservatives and 1 singular independent. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mix.
OK, so you've got a Liberal Democrat administration propped up by Labour. Well, George, it's no wonder you've had so much trouble, but you're doing a great job, and keep us posted with developments. Let's hope you're in the clear now, but frankly, on past performance, let's keep an eye on things, shall we? Thanks for coming on, George. George Madgwick there, local councillor from Portsmouth, where things are looking up a bit, maybe, I don't know. Right, we're going to go to break now, and when we come back, we'll talk to Mike Neville, former Met Police detective, about this strange case of what happened before the train horror, the stabbing horror last Saturday. What happened before? There was a knife rampage, and questions are being asked of the police, but the police seem to have exonerated themselves. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's go straight to my next guest because we spoke to Ahmed earlier, rather too long. So we're going to squeeze everything in. But warm welcome to former Met Police detective Mike Neville. Welcome, Mike. Here's the deal. So we had this terrible train horror at the weekend, sort of unfolded Saturday through to Sunday. Now, it turns out we've got to be careful here because obviously charges have been brought against an individual. He's been charged with 10 counts of attempted murder. But there was before the train horror unfolded, the stabbing horror, there was a worrying trail of violence and terror that preceded it. There was the suspect allegedly went on the rampage the night before. No one appears to have reported the knife mayhem, or rather not instantly. A 14-year-old boy and a 17-year-old boy was stabbed 100 miles apart. One in Peterborough on Friday night and another in East London at lunchtime on Saturday. Now, this incident, the one in Peterborough, was reported to Cambridgeshire Police after this guy was allegedly terrorised a barber shop in Peterborough. He was gone by the time the cops arrived. But due to this, excuse me, and subsequent events, the force reported itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. So it clearly saw that there could be a problem here. That basically is the police watchdog where complaints go to be decided on. But the Independent Office for Police Conduct has rather loftily decided that the criteria for an investigation has not been reached. I don't find that very satisfying at all, do you?
No, not at all. And what you have here is that the police are not very good. Well, firstly, the police did well at the actual scene of the crime.
Agreed.
Cambridge officers who charged in there, the British transport officers, charged in there, neutralised the threat, made the arrest, ran towards that danger, helping the brave train crew. They did a good job. But what Cambridge's senior officers are going to look at is their reporting procedures and why is it that very serious allegations were not properly investigated. The other wider factor for me is the issue of images and people being caught on CCTV, which this man was, in the sense that I would suggest if he hadn't committed that dreadful rampage on the train which drew national attention, he would never have been identified for any other offence.
We have to say this is all sort of alleged. We've got to be slightly careful here. But I think totally. I mean, a lot went on before the train horror unfolded. This guy allegedly moving 100 miles, from Peterborough to London, allegedly again attacking a guy on a station, Poplar, I think it was, in East London on Saturday lunchtime. The night before, allegedly terrorising people in Peterborough. Police called. By the time they got there, no one around, but this rampage across the country, which left 2 kids stabbed, badly injured, which at one point was reported to Cambridgeshire Police. They clearly saw that there's a problem here, so they reported themselves to the watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, and the Independent Officers just very haughtily, I think, said, we don't believe that the criteria for an investigation have been reached. Well, let me tell you, in the light of the Huntingdon train horror, the public, the people of this country, I think we demand an explanation. We demand an investigation. This is not good enough, is it?
Well, it's quite incredible, really, Kevin, because he usually investigates total nonsense. You got officers being referred to the ILPC for driving too fast through an emergency or some petty incident that lasts for the investigation lasts for 2 and 3 years. So it's really strange how this has happened, and I don't understand why they've just dismissed it, because as you say, we need to know. And the big thing for me is that if the guy leaves fingerprints or DNA at the scene of a crime, they quickly link because we have a national database. There is no national database of images, so if you get caught on CCTV and commit it in several different places, like this man has allegedly done, then it is they simply are not linked together. And there are images in police stations of violent and prolific criminals that are never identified, particularly if people move across the country. And that's a big problem for police. And they talk about facial recognition and all that, but the facts are they're not linking criminals who move across the country. And the movement was incredible, wasn't it? Yeah. London, Peterborough, back to Peterborough.
And back to London, yeah. And I'd say that what the public are demanding, this is the 24 hours leading up to that horrific stabbing horror on the train in Huntingdon. This is the 24 hours leading up to it. I'd say the public demand a forensic examination of every second of that 24 hours. What happened? And so the police watchdog here, You know, this isn't good enough. Let me tell you, they will be conducting an investigation. They don't realise it yet, but they will be. And also, we need a proper investigation as well, an independent investigation of everything that happened. Because this sort of smacks too much of the police marking their own homework. Nothing to see here, off you go. You know, not good enough, Mike. Mike, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. We had to squeeze this in. Mike Neville, Met Police Detective there, former Met Police Detective. What do you think about that? It's not good enough, is it? Oh, no, we don't need to look into that. Yeah, you damn well do. You damn well do. That's ridiculous. Right, we're going to go to break now. When we come back, excuse me, we're going to talk about an incredible story to do with rape gangs again. So that next, stay tuned.
Some breaking news this morning revealed that under the Terrorist Act, 242 people were arrested in the year to June of this year.
That's something you can indulge in as to all the people who aren't going to prison because, well, there's no prison spaces.
So this is a Talk exclusive we've been looking at.
I said, you take these cuffs off me and speak to me like a human being rather than a common criminal.
You're just left wondering, do these people who lead us actually hate Britain? Yeah. Do they not love our country and everything that we've stood for?
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. School governors have been encouraged to dismiss concerns about grooming gangs as disinformation. This is a sort of training exercise for thousands of school governors that have to go through this due to concerns about child sexual abuse. In these training sessions, basically the governors were presented with a scenario where kids go, oh, you know, where they're swapping videos saying, oh, these grooming and these rape gang people, they're all of a particular religious ethnicity. In other words, the truth about what they mainly are, which is Muslim men of Pakistani heritage. Governors have been told to dismiss these concerns as an online safety risk and to tell the kids that they're spreading disinformation, which has enraged the Tories. Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, saying it is shocking that training for schools categorises what sounds like a description of a rape gang as disinformation or a conspiracy theory. Let's go straight over to the Chief Executive of Freedom from Abuse, a tireless campaigner against the sexual abuse of children, Marilyn Hawes. Marilyn, sorry, I apologise, we haven't got long on this because we've had a very busy night, but this is pretty shocking, isn't it? So the scenario is that governors have been told that if kids come up to you and go, oh, look, I've got this video, I've got evidence that the rape gangs are primarily Pakistani men, Muslim men of Pakistani heritage, they're to be told that's disinformation, ignore it, and this is an online safety risk. It's not disinformation, it's true.
And neither is a conspiracy theory. That's what they've also been told. Or is it disinformation, misinformation, or conspiracy theory? You know what? I would love to. I have been a governor. I have been a deputy head. I'm from education. I'm furious. I'm absolutely furious. I don't know whether these governors have actually taken on board the fact they actually have a vicarious legal duty of care to the staff, the parents and the children. And if they want to be so woke and stick their heads in the sand, I think they should all be resigning. It is totally irresponsible. Or I would actually quite like to sit them down in front of some of these ladies, then girls. The outgoing Anne Longfield, the outgoing Children's Commissioner, she said, and I absolutely agree with her, that she believes there is someone involved in some of these gangs in every single school. I agree with her, because it starts with the hook. People don't even understand how this works, and they don't want to be educated, and this is absolutely disgraceful. Sarah Champion is saying the same thing. They're trying to shut down the debate.
Yeah, the truth about it now, my producer Samara Gill, who you know, and me, we happened to be with a couple of rape gang victims last night, and a lot of the victims' fury centres on this, the authorities trying to dissuade them from pointing the finger at the people who did this to them. These gangs, who's in the gang? Oh, don't say it's Muslim men, don't say it's people from Pakistani heritage. And they're going, yeah, but that's the truth. And this is another example of that, isn't it?
I am so angry because my whole mission in life is, even a teacher, a mother, whatever, is to protect children. And I'm a massive fan. It's the best job in the world to be a teacher. And this is failing miserably. The governors, stop going down to your gin and tonics at a golf course and wake up and smell the coffee and think, you know, a kid in your school this could happen to, and I mean, it's all over the country, you can't get away from it, but this casual attitude is absolutely unacceptable, and it drives me mad. I mean, I mean, we have done a course. I was sponsored, can you believe it? I was sponsored by the government because I've done a lot of work in prisons, and I wanted to show the kids like what life is like behind prison if you get involved in all of this, because a lot of these gangs, it starts off with the hook, someone who doesn't look quite very suspicious, and then it goes on to the coordinators, which are the taxi drivers, and some of these people that came out of prison who are, sorry if you don't like it, it's unpalatable, but wake up, you governors, and get off your backsides and wake up and face the truth that they are back on the streets of Rotherham. They are back on the streets.
Yes, it's going on now. It's still happening particularly in London, and we have a mayor, Sadiq Khan, who refuses to accept that, and that's a big problem.
Honestly, Kevin, I really despair about this sort of attitude, because it's not responsible.
Well, it's an attempt to hide the truth, and that is never a healthy thing. Marilyn, thank you so much for joining us. I I can see your passion in this, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Marilyn Hawes there, Chief Executive of Freedom from Abuse. I mean, she's got a point. The authorities, you know, these governors, all trying to hide the truth about who the majority of the members of these rape gangs are. They are Muslim men of Pakistani heritage, and the authorities don't like that. The Labour government doesn't like it. These school governors clearly don't like it. Next up, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. It's a year since he won the election. Now, what kind of a year has it been? Let's talk about that after the news, so stick around, stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Well, in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to be taking your calls. 0344 499 1000. You might want to leave a WhatsApp voice note. We'll play that out. Or just send me a message. If it's best, that same kind of number, 87222 plus talk. Send it to there. WhatsApp or just message me. So we will, and I'll read some of them out. Now, hardly seems believable, does it? But it is actually 1 year since Donald Trump won the American presidential election, when he trounced cackling Kamala Harris. So we thought we'd have a look at it. I mean, it's not his first year in office, to be precise, because of course you win the election in November in the president's election, and then you don't actually take the reins of the White House till January. But it's 1 year since he proved the critics wrong, proved all the lefties wrong, and didn't just win the election, he absolutely stormed it, didn't he? Not really surprising, considering Kamala Harris has to be one of the worst candidates ever to try for the White House. Cackling Kamala. Well, word salad Kamala. What on earth was she ever talking about? But let's have a little look at a sort of summary of his 1 year of Trump in office. Take a look at this.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. 39% we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple.
So can I present the letter from the King to you?
Thank you very much. Again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
Well, that's a sort of summary of some of the highlights of Donald Trump's term so far. It's been extraordinary, hasn't it? I mean, let me know what you think, but I think the question to ask is how has he changed America? How has he changed the world? He has changed both America and the world. America is astonishing what he did. Just came in and cancelled Woker. He just said, that's over. I mean, almost literally closed the southern border. Officially, I think there are about 2.5 million migrants coming across illegally under Biden. Unofficially, they think as many as 10 million a year will come in. Well, he just came in and closed the border and just said that's not going to happen anymore. Sent down the police, sent down the army. Bang. He's pretty much solved their migrant crisis. Meanwhile, he's deporting people. Then we saw on the world stage, I think his activity on the world stage is extremely unexpected, you know, because he's very much an insular president, you know, America first, remember all that? Didn't want to get involved in any wars, just wanted to concentrate. He doesn't like war, to be fair, genuinely is a peace lover, but I don't think any of us expected him to be quite so proactive when it came to Gaza, when it came to Ukraine, when it came to dealing with Putin, his meeting with him. I mean, he's been very proactive on the international stage, which is a surprise, but he's also been a whirl of activity. Do you remember Doge, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency? I mean, that was a sight to see. We saw the tariff, what did he call it, Liberty Day or something, when he brought in all these tariffs around the world, including on Britain, then kept amending them. So he's been incredibly active. But I wonder whether you think it's a success or a failure. Let me know, 03444991000. Well, to help us look back on a year of Trump, welcome to the show all the way from America, a Republican. Oh, she's not quite ready. We're hoping to be joined by Angie Wong in just a second. She's the Republican strategist, and she's from the Miami Committee of Women. So we are looking forward to talking to her in a little while. But let me know what you think about what Trump has achieved. Do you think it's been a success? Do you think it's been a failure? It certainly hasn't been dull, has it? That's the thing about Donald Trump is there is never a dull moment. Extraordinary. Don't forget his state visit to Britain as well. That was quite a thing. Anyway, Angie Wong, Republican strategist and Miami Committee for Women, is ready. Angie, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's been a very big day here, mainly because we have our elections here in the U.S. So we have a big mayoral race in New York, and my dog barking. I apologize for all that.
It's okay. I got one myself. I know very much all about that. And of course, Dick Cheney, former vice president, died today as well, which big American story. But I think my audience, people over in Britain, we'd like to look back. It doesn't seem real, does it, that it's a year since he won that election? First of all, before we talk about his performance so far, let's have a quick chat about that, because I remember leading up to that, Republicans, you know, very nervous. This is going to be so close, because Kamala, you know, she's been getting all the press, front page of all the sort of Democrat media, all rah, 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 isn't she amazing? We're all looking at it thinking, yeah, but she never says anything that makes any sense. She's got this kind of hyena-like, mad, cackling laugh. And from across the Atlantic, we thought, should they really saying she's going to even stand a chance of winning? Well, I told all my American Republican friends, I said, he's going to walk it. They go, no, no, no. It's going to be close. But it wasn't close, was it? He actually, he stormed it, didn't he?
Yes, and I was just looking back at an old news clip that I was doing. I was doing a new program with the BBC talking about Kamala Harris the day before the 2024 presidential elections, where she was ahead in multiple polls. How wrong did we get that one? So I think back, and I look at these polls. They've lost a lot of credibility since, because no one was able to project what a lot of Americans knew, that Donald Trump was going to take America by storm, and he overwhelmed the system in November 2024. And what a great day that was. I had the pleasure of going to his victory party that night in Palm Beach, and it was full energy. We didn't get results in until probably, it was late in the morning. I think we got the first couple of states coming in around midnight. And then by 3 a.m. in the morning, the Trump family came on stage. And it was very exhausting, you could see. But, it was probably the most delight that I've had in a long time, because we've been waiting for Donald Trump to come back into office, well, basically since 2020. So this was an incredible sight to see what a major political comeback that was. Remember all the lawfare? Okay. Remember the Mar-a-Lago raids?
Well, a lot of people saying, last November the 4th, when the results came in, Donald Trump was facing two potential fates. One was to become the 47th president of the United States. The other was to go to jail. And, of course, it was the former. Well, let's fast forward now, because you have this weird system in America where you win the election, but you don't ascend to power for 3 months. So so he got into the White House in January. And since then, I mean, it's been an absolute whirl of activity. And do you know what we loved from this side of the Atlantic, because we hate, we are bombarded by wokery to this day. I mean, it's just ridiculous what we have to suffer. America gave us wokery. America used to be the home of wokery. And I love the fact that I think it was about day 2 of his presidency, or day 2 of moving into the White House, he just stood up and cancelled it. So it's, if they talk about cancel culture, he cancelled wokery in one speech flat, saying, no more trans people in the army, no more of this general woke nonsense. He just cancelled it, didn't he?
Yes, and not only did he do that, he wrote several executive orders canceling it, and he asked for his secretaries across all the agencies to defund any sort of DEI platforms or remove the languages from the textbooks in the government, so that we never had to deal with this again. It was really, I mean, to this day, they're still going through a lot of government documents looking for that exact text to remove and to, and Elon Musk had a big part in that as well. He was doing the Doge efforts where essentially they were just cutting out all the nonsense that had line items in the budgets in many, many agencies. And he was able to save billions of dollars by just removing all these things. So one by one, President Trump is going through the laundry list, looking for all those things to right wrongs, and also just to remove the idea that you can't make it in America without having these incentives that are very victim-based, right?
Yeah.
So it's now we're going to be merit-based, and I think that's exactly where we have to be, because we are a capitalist society. We are one of the only civilizations, just like in the UK, where you can actually have upward mobility, right? So we want to maintain that, and that's what gives us our spirit, and that's the American dream. So I think that is, I think we're starting to get back on track 1 year later.
Here's another thing that many of us here in Britain are very jealous of you Americans about is Donald Trump's fantastic, I mean, not all Brits would agree with me on this, but you'd be surprised how many do, his fantastic cancelling of what we call the green claptrap, you know, the net zero nonsense, and just saying we're going to drill, baby, drill, and no more windmills, no more green stuff, no more net zero because it kills your economy. And that just happened. Do you know the result of that, Angie? That our energy bills are 5 times higher than America's. Of course, you also drill for shale gas. You've got plenty of that as well. But the cancelling of net zero and the return to drill, baby, drill, traditional oil, fossil fuels, I mean, that is a real boon for the American people because it makes life so cheap.
Well, I hope that sets an example for the rest of the world. Look,
it doesn't for us, unfortunately. I wish.
Well, it can, and I'm sure if we asked President Trump to, he would love to help you solve that problem. He loves solving problems. He loves making deals. But part of that is also to make right with some of the countries that we're buying oil from. We have to produce our own here in the U.S. We have plenty of it. Unfortunately, the U.S. has been very dependent on foreign energy sources, and I think we're starting to we're never going to not be foreign independent, but I think we're starting to at least have some sort of balance there. And it's going to take a while. Again, this guy's been in office for 10 months now. Yeah. I've seen more in the last 10 months than I've seen the last 10 presidents combined doing all this. He's just ripping through because he knows this might be a 2-year presidency. We don't know how the House of Congress and the Senate will be in less than 1 year, in 1 year's time during the midterms. Hopefully President Trump gets a full 4-year term and he can get every one of his agendas through. But right now, his team understands we may only have 2 years to get everything done, which is why we have this government shutdown here in the U.S., because nothing is getting done during this government shutdown.
Right. Also, your migrant crisis. I mean, he solved that at a stroke, didn't he, by, sending the army down to the southern border. As I said, I believe I'm right in saying that during Biden's tenure, something like 2.5 million migrants were illegally crossing the border into America, the southern states of America. That was the official number, but many people believe that the real number was as high as 10 million. Well, he stopped that. He just sort of stopped it and then started deporting people. So again, that's a dramatic achievement that we look across the Atlantic and the absolute shambles and the mess that we're having to go through, we're having to endure with our migrant crisis. We just think, well, we wish I had a Donald Trump who just did it.
Well, you might be having a Donald Trump-like figure in your next election, it looks like. Look, I mean, we've been watching what's been going on over the pond, and we're wondering, well, when does that come over stateside, right? And we saw everyone go through Brexit. We saw a lot of the migration coming up as well when Angela Merkel opened up the gates over 10 years ago. So we knew that was a trend happening. And of course, whoever was working with Biden made sure that happened in America too. It has been Trump's day one agenda to close our borders, and having been to the borders and covered it for newspapers here in the U.S., I can tell you I've never seen a more secure border. We used to have over 10,000 people coming across the border every single day.
There you go.
Now we have under 20 per day who still come, they claim asylum, but 20, that's manageable. And worse, it seems as though, well, when I was reporting this, the Biden administration were flying in migrants on commercial jets. So it was incredible why you would do this to a country. A country without borders is not a country at all. And now we are having to suffer from the consequences of that. And Tom Holman and his team, they're doing a fantastic job. Imagine having to remove, and you gave a conservative number of 2 million. We're looking more like 11 to 12 million who have come here illegally during the Biden administration. Imagine having to find 11 to 12 million people scattered about the country. Many of them are hiding. Many of them have fake identities. How do you do this? I mean, it is a Herculean task to find everyone and deport them. I don't think it's realistic that we can do everything, but certainly it certainly hasn't been pretty watching the arrest over the media. But it has to happen because you can come in here legally. My husband, who's British, came in here legally. We waited our 9 years, and we went through all the interviews, paid all the fees. So we're not very.
You don't want to let those British in, Angie. You really don't want to do that. But seriously, let's just briefly talk about his activity abroad, because I think that was unexpected. He's been a whirl of activity on the international front. I mean, he was always sort of seen as an isolationist president, a sort of insular president, America first, America first, America first. Well, he's taken a great interest in other countries around the world. Of course, he's done his best to try to persuade Vladimir Putin into some kind of peace deal over Ukraine. Unsuccessful so far, but you can't fault Donald for trying, and I don't think he's given that up yet. But in Gaza with Israel and Hamas, the Gaza Strip, his activity, his involvement there has been extraordinary. And although that peace or the ceasefire that's going on now is kind of fragile, his achievements have been remarkable, I think.
Well, yes, he got two sides who were going to fight for the rest of their lives, if not eternity, to come together, at least for a brief moment. Now, I think President Trump got exactly what he needed out of that deal, which is to return the hostages. That was as much as he was able to do as a U.S. president and bring the two sides together. He promised Hamas a deal. He promised IDF Netanyahu a great deal. Phase 2 was always going to be the hardest. To disarm Hamas, to demilitarize the entire thing, was always going to be very, very difficult. Now, I know that the Trump administration still very much wants this deal, and they've been sending Secretary of State Marco Rubio through. All of the Trump allies are going through trying to make this deal work, because if it does work, it could be a very happy ending for all sides and all the Middle East players and anyone else who can be involved. I heard President Trump talk about a Middle East Riviera. And I can only imagine all the gold buildings that he'd love to build there. But you can see that, so I've been covering the Gaza conflict for over 2 years, and you can see what was going on. It was demolition going on. It wasn't just bombing buildings and looking for terrorists. It was full-on demolition. And I always wondered why the Middle East players never got involved in that. So it seems as though they all came out when Trump was in Egypt, celebrating the Middle East peace deal. They all came out for him. And you know what? I looked at that, and there was almost 30 world leaders who flew in on their private jets to take on the stage with Trump that day,
including our guy.
Yes, including.
Unfortunately, he came back. We wished he'd have stayed there, but there you go. You can't have everything.
Yeah, but I thought, well, why do you need the UN?
That's another debate. The UN is just useless, a complete waste of time, and it's in the hands of this left-wing lunatic Antonio Guterres, who is just he's the guy who said we mustn't talk about global warming anymore. It's global boiling. What's boiling? He's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot, and the Middle Eastern dispute or the conflict has proved that the UN is just not fit. It's pointless now. By the way, before October the 7th, a couple of years ago, the UN was passing, on average, about sort of 11 condemnations of Israel every single week. So it's kind of a weirdly kind of arguably anti-Semitic organisation as well. It certainly doesn't like Israel. Let me ask you one last question, Angie. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if you're across this story, but there's a big story unfolding here in Britain with the BBC. So Trump's speeches on January the 6th, 2021, where, if you recall, effectively he ended up saying, look, calm down, let's cut out the violence, stop all this. So what's happened is our program Panorama, which is the equivalent of your program 60 Minutes, has screened this documentary a couple of weeks ago, in which it transpires someone has doctored his speeches and spliced them all together. So it looks as if he's saying, let's get to Capitol Hill, let's do it. Looks as if he's urging the mob to storm Capitol Hill, which of course he didn't do. So it's an absolute twisting of the truth. Now, given that Donald Trump Jr. has already posted something on social media saying, I can't use all the language he said, but this just proves that the British reporters are just as bad, fake news is just as bad as the American. And he uses a couple of swear words as well. So I think that reveals the fury of the Trump family. And Donald Trump, of course, sued 60 Minutes, didn't he, for them doctoring or making a Kamala Harris speech look badder for him than it was supposed to. He sued them for $16 million. So we think he's going to sue the BBC as well. This is important. You know, this is you know, the president of our greatest ally, America, made to look bad by our state broadcaster, which we pay for, made to look bad deliberately, doctoring this speech. I predict, I think Donald Trump will sue.
He should sue. Unfortunately, it is a very American way to be litigious, but here's the thing. That's almost the only way to getting broadcasters to stop this nonsense, right? Either I mean, the BBC, I used to idolize the BBC, and I'm still on it. And I want it to be truthful. You're a journalist, right? You should be just there to be a witness. You should be reporting the facts. You should have sources and not create the narrative, which is what we've seen over and over again. They have to push this narrative that Trump is some sort of terrorist, orange man bad, that he's in charge of J6, when all that narrative is starting to collapse. Why? Because the Trump administration now has access to the FBI files. Now we can start exposing what's been happening. I don't know if you just saw, but Nancy Pelosi has decided not to run for another election, and we've long known that she spearheaded a lot of the J6 narrative as well. Not to say she was in charge of it, but she definitely pushed this narrative around the world that Trump is an insurrectionist, which is clearly false. But again, we're at this age where we're fighting with the news media, right? Whoever narrative comes out first really becomes the narrative. And, I think that BBC should have that responsibility to know that, they are a major world news service. And if they push something out like this, it is defamation. It might be slander. It might be many, many of those things. Now, ultimately, it's a big news story. If Trump sues like he did with CBS, he's not in it for the cash reward. He's in it
to make a point, isn't he? Absolutely. I mean, the way our state broadcaster, the BBC, has behaved, particularly through the Gaza conflict and in other areas recently, let me tell you, British citizens would love to see the president sue this declining broadcaster. It really, really would. Fascinating stuff, Angie, thank you so much for coming on. Really good to talk to you. That's Angie Wong, their Republican strategist in Miami. 1 year of Trump. What do you reckon? 03444991000. Got lots of calls. We'll start taking them after this break. I'll read some messages and see if I've got any WhatsApp voice notes to play you as well. So lots still to come. Stick around, folks.
if you can find ways of letting the private sector breathe, not having them spending nearly all of their time complying with rules, then you can get an awful lot done. Growth goes up, more people are employed, more people are getting pay rises, more people are moving into higher skilled jobs, and suddenly the money does start to flow into the exchequer. Or if not suddenly, over a year or two, you're in a much, much brighter position. So I'm very keen to hear what Reform are going to do on that. And I think they're likely to stay consistent on that.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, there are two things you need to know about Monday, December the 1st. The first is it's my birthday. And that's when I reached the mental age of 3. So, seriously, it's my birthday on Monday the 1st, but that's not really what you need to know about. This is the important announcement. From Monday the 1st of December, our talkTV app is on the move. All of your favourite shows and podcasts will continue over on the Talk app. So, if you're watching or listening on the talkTV app right now, you'll need to download the Talk app from the App Store or Google Play. Do it now. So that's Monday, December the 1st. So you've probably got the app now. That one's going to become redundant, so you need to get the new one. It's going to be brilliant, by the way. It's an excellent app. Shall we play a voice note first? This is Pete on BBC Bias.
Kevin, can BBC licence payers sue the BBC too? Because in essence, they have used licence payers' money illegally and without their permission to create with that video and the fakery, which is in actuality a fraud, isn't it? So can the BBC licence fee payers claim their money back, and they'll claim legally that why should they finance a company that in essence creates a fraud on screen?
Yes, a really interesting point from Pete there. A good point. You know, that there may be a case, the way the BBC's been behaving lately, for us to start saying, hang on a second, you know, why should we be paying 180 quid a year or whatever it is, you know, for this fraudulent coverage of Gaza, this fraudulent coverage of Donald Trump? You know, are they committing a kind of a fraud on us, saying, hey, we're an honest broadcaster? Well, if they're not, maybe we could get our money back. Good idea, Pete. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Paul in Liverpool. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, hi, Kev. Just about the BBC and Donald
and Trump, yeah.
Isn't that a federal offence or a felony of something because interfering with what's it called, an election?
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting, Paul. You're touching on a poignant fact. The thing about what he'll probably sue on, and I think he will, he doesn't let this kind of thing go. What he'll sue on is the fact that the BBC is broadcast in America. So potentially he could sue them under American law, which means he can dictate the amount he wants. So he could sue the BBC, for example, for $100 million. In this country, you can't state the amount you want. But if he's able to use American law, I guess it would be federal law, it wouldn't be state law, so federal law. If he's able to use American law, he'll be able to sue the BBC for a stated amount, and you know what it's like in America, it'll be for $50 million or something ridiculous. But I think this is a very serious crisis for the BBC.
Yeah, I mean, look, would he be able to sue individuals from the BBC who are involved in that as well? You know, but basically,
well, he could potentially, but that doesn't tend to be the way these things are done. And yeah, I mean, we don't know he's actually going to sue, but he doesn't tend to let media organisations get away with this kind of thing, because he just
stopped them, but they keep going.
Yeah. So I don't think he'll go for individuals, because that's not the way it goes. What he'll want to do is to show the world, and indeed Britain, that our state broadcaster just twisted the truth about him, and that is not acceptable. Good point, Paul. Thank you very much. Excellent call. Paul from Liverpool there. What do we got here? This is a message from Margaret in Birmingham. She said, Donald Trump, where do you start? He delivered on his promises from day one. He is a great leader, strong, charismatic, entertaining, and wants world peace. We love him. Puts America front and centre. Well done, Mr. President. I think a lot of people think that in Britain. I mean, a lot of people are really jealous. You know, they get Donald Trump, man of action, who does what he says. He's full of common sense as well, Donald Trump. We get Keir Starmer. Enough said. We didn't really get the good side of the deal, did we? Let's talk to Michael in Hertfordshire. Hi, Michael.
Good evening. All these government committees that look into the BBC when they've done something wrong.
Yes.
Nothing seems to happen after the investigation finishes.
You mean
what is the point of having an investigation
totally
if they
agree.
do nothing about it?
Because I
actually think the public should not pay the licence until the management and an investigation for the people who are making these lies are investigated.
I agree with you. I think this is a big crisis for the BBC, because they've really been and gone and done it now. It looks as if they've twisted the truth about Donald Trump to make it look as if he called for the storming of Capitol Hill back there on January the 6th, 2021. He did nothing of the sort. That is a serious defamation.
And the other thing I would like to say while I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
When you spoke to the lawyer about the march...
Ahmed,
week,
yeah.
The Orthodox people they're showing are an extreme sect that are anti-Israel and do not represent Israel, the Jewish people, or anybody else. So they're on all the marches. There are very few of them, and they're complete nutcases.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really know about them.
Point that out to you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Another very important thing where you could have asked him.
Yeah.
When Hamas executed their own people, which the BBC didn't make too much fuss of, why is there no marches against Hamas executing their own people?
Because that's not the way it goes, is it? But yeah, I mean, there should be.
There's a reason for it. We both know the reason.
I mean, you saw that guy, Ahmed Yaqub. I mean, he just wouldn't really condemn October the 7th strike. Saying, well, how would you like if somebody invaded your bedroom? As if to say, well, Hamas actually had a justifiable reason to do what they did. No, they didn't on anybody's level. It's ridiculous. Michael, that was a good call. Thank you very much. Good to talk. Michael in Hertfordshire. What have I got here? This is from Nicola in Norfolk. The story about school governors training does not apply to all governors, only those who subscribe to that particular training provider. Yeah, fair enough, but I gather it involves as many as 5,000 school governors, so it's pretty substantial. Nicola goes on to say, please don't tar all governors with the same brush. Well, I don't think I'm blaming the governors particularly. It's the training course. The governors are being told on this training course, if kids come to you saying, there's these Muslim men, Pakistani heritage, that you should say, no, that's disinformation, that's a conspiracy theory. It's not their fault they're being told this. The truth is, though, they should not be being told this. Nicola goes on, who's obviously a school governor herself. There are many of us who take our safeguarding responsibilities very seriously and do not shy away from difficult conversations. Well said. The safety and protection of the students is absolutely our top priority. Well, that's exactly what. That is exactly what should be the case. So there should be governors like Nicola who take their responsibilities seriously and do not shy away from difficult conversations. That's exactly what this governor's training course sounds like. It's telling governors to do. To shy away from difficult conversations. So if the kids say, these look like Muslim men, Pakistani heritage. No, you can't say that. No, that's disinformation. It's not disinformation, it's the truth. and you should never shy away from the truth. It's not a healthy thing to do. Let's quickly listen to a WhatsApp voice note. Got lots on the BBC, by the way. This is, again, Pete on BBC Bias. Oh, sorry, Anthony. It's another one. Pete's still up there. That was a good one, wasn't it, by Pete? This is Anthony on BBC Bias.
Hi, Kevin. Just a quick note on the Donald Trump BBC thing. I've just got a thought. On the off chance that maybe Donald Trump, Elon Musk, JD Vance is listening or watching, how about you go and sue the life out of the BBC? Whatever money you get from that, set up a foundation over here for those poor girls that are in the rape gangs, those poor victims. Put that money to some really good use. Not only would you be doing the world a favour, but just to rub their faces in it a bit more to see where the money's going because they didn't want to cover it.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Anthony. And Trump would be liable to do this. He doesn't need the money. It's the point. It's the point of principle. You can't. He's the president of the United States. You can't have massive media organisations like the BBC, the biggest broadcaster in the world, just making up stories about him, making up lies about him, which is what the programme seems to have done. We don't know quite who's responsible for it, but what went out to the British public was a lie. It was just a lie. And completely twisting the truth. That's not acceptable. Let's talk to Caroline in London. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Kevin. Just a couple of points. Firstly, in terms of the BBC, I hope Trump sues the
backside of him. Yeah.
Not, they need to. I'm sorry, they need to come down. And it's not just. Hey, this has affected the whole world because people all over the world listen to the BBC. So this is absolutely
they trust the BBC. God knows why anymore, but there's still a scintilla of trust. So when people see things on the BBC, they make the mistake of thinking it's going to be true. And this is just another example of the BBC actually indulging in really biased journalism.
No, absolutely. And the other point, which you may not agree with, but I just need to say it, I listen to talk all the time. I've been following not mainstream news for 4 years. This is what I believe. I believe that everything that's happening in this country with illegal immigrants, the legal immigrants, the hotels, this is all a plan. You know, they're not stopping any. They allow things like in Tower Hamlets, and Peter Gardell was trying to get information from the Met why it wasn't stopped, and nothing's happened. We are all being silenced. And now with this budget, it's going to bring this country to...
Well, they got the budget and
we've never, ever seen before. And people are not going to want to come here, not going to want to invest here. The property market will go...
I'm not sure there's... I mean, I totally agree with everything you're saying, Caroline. I'm not sure there's a plan. I just think we are in the grips of a government... that is epically incompetent. They're useless. They're just useless, and the country's going to rack and ruin because of their hopelessness. I don't think there's a plan. What would the plan be for? I don't think Keir Starmer actively wants to ruin the country, nor does Rachel Reeves. It's just they're incapable of not doing that because they're useless. They're just utterly useless. We are in the hands of complete mediocre incompetence. We really, really are. But I understand what you mean. If you look at this absolute shambles, you think somebody must be doing this deliberately, but I genuinely don't think they are. But interesting point, Caroline. Good call. Great to talk to you. Thank you very much. By the way, it's Harry Cole Saves the West at 10 o'clock. We go over to Washington for our live show from God's own country. Harry Cole Saving the West. That happens at 10 o'clock after the 10 o'clock news. And after that, at 11 p.m, it's Petri Hoskin. She will take you through into the small hours to 1 a.m. Much still to come. Let's go to break and more calls when we come back.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's play another WhatsApp voice note. This is Darren again on BBC Bias.
Evening, Kev. I hope that Donald does sue him, but whatever they have to pay him, it should come out of every one of the BBC staff's wages. Just say 10% until it's paid. We'll pay it, the government will pay it, and then get it back off them. 10% off everybody that works at the BBC. Because why? Well, I say why should we pay it? I don't pay the TV licence, mate. I cancelled it years ago.
So Darren's got no skin in the game, but I take your point. I mean, it's a bit unfair on all the BBC staff who are not involved in this panorama debacle. But the problem when Donald sues the BBC, and I think he will, is it'll probably cost them millions of quid, and that will be passed on to licence fee payers. But I think most of us will say, well, that's life. We'll accept that. I don't think the BBC should get away with this. I'd like to see Donald Trump put them in their place. They're so pompous, that lot. Yeah, we check our own facts. We've got our own fact-checking department. I mean, what other organisation says that? We can absolutely guarantee you this is 100% true because we've checked it. We've fact-checked it with ourselves. Pompous prats. That's what they are. They really are. So self-satisfied. What's the ridiculous BBC verify? They couldn't verify my backside. Right, let's play one last voice note, shall we? Tristan, about Labour.
I feel that they are stuck because they're so ideological. It's why Starmer can't get out the ECHR. They can't get rid of net zero because, again, they're ideologically married to it, even though they know that it's destroying the economy in every single which way. And it's the same thing with Rachel Reid. They can't stop the migrant crisis because they refuse to do it. So the only way they have to do is keep coming to us to pay for it. That's it. And it's just spiralling out of control.
You're absolutely right, Tristan. One of the problems with it, they're so ideological, this government. They are serious socialists. And it's like a straitjacket to their politics. They can't do anything sensible because they're mad ideologues. That's why they don't want to sort of leave the ECHR, because it's all about human rights, isn't it? You know, human rights. So therefore, we don't leave the ECHR. Therefore, they can't solve the migrant crisis. Simple as that. And so many other areas. Tristan is right. It's ideological. They're addicted to their dogma, to their ideologies, and that is not healthy. Here's a message from Lorraine. She is now, as she says, in the light of the upcoming pro-Palestine march on Thursday night, and ashamed Brummie. She's talking about that guy, Ahmed Yaqub, who was my guest earlier in the show. He's one of the organisers of this march, and you know, basically, he's manically anti-Israel, says they're guilty of genocide, even though officially they're not. Anyway, Lorraine says, I am 70 years old, and if that idiot is a lawyer, I'll be modelling bikinis for Chanel next week. You better get your bikini out, Lorraine, because he is a lawyer. And not only is he a lawyer, you may recall, who can forget, the Manchester cop beaters. Do you remember that case? Well, for a while, our friend Ahmed Yaqub was their lawyer. He staged a few press conferences and then mysteriously disappeared from the action, was no longer their lawyer. So he is a lawyer. I think he drives a yellow Lamborghini, so he's quite a successful lawyer. But he's got an interesting story. If you go onto Google, look him up, Ahmed Yaqub, you'll find out perhaps he has some local difficulties going on at the moment, but that isn't my job to talk about that at the moment. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Kevin in Norfolk. Hi, Kev.
Hi, Kevin. Great show, great show.
Thank you.
Spoke to you last night. You gave me 30 seconds.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was right at the end. What were you? You got plenty of time now, Kev. Go on.
Oh, that's brilliant. I just wanted to put a point about legal migration. My partner is a legal migrant from Uganda. She came over 2.5 years ago.
Oh, what? A sort of a war refugee, as it were, yeah?
No. She came over on a dependency visa.
Oh, okay,
Kevin.
okay.
Right, so we went, she's just waving, she's on the couch next to me now.
Hello.
She's waving at you on the TV. But we spent months and months going through dozens and dozens and dozens of pieces of paperwork, photographs, statements, everything. It cost us over £6,000, but we did everything legitimately.
Yes.
And then now she's there is a kicker to this as well. She's got a job here. She does 48 hours a week.
And now she's totally legal, yeah?
Totally legal.
Good.
She works in a care home every month. She pays income tax. She pays national insurance.
Yep.
She contributes to a pension fund. She is a member of the local church. She contributes in the community. Completely doing everything that you want. Very, very hard working. Now, here's the kicker.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you.
Very quickly, yeah.
Very.
Apart from your partner, what is the point you want to make, Kevin?
We're doing the forms to renew her visa.
Right.
We cannot complete the forms until we pay £2,500 to the government.
That seems a bit unfair. I mean, but what you're talking, I mean, expensive, but you're talking about one of the scourges of this country. We're getting more and more pathetically bureaucratic. We are, tangled up in red tape everywhere you go. Too many forms to fill, too many hurdles to get over to achieve what you want. We are too mired in red tape. Totally agree with you. And if you're charging you £2,000, well, look, I wish you well. I'm sure it'll be fine. But £2,000, rather you than me. Kev, good call. Thank you very much. My best to your partner. And let's go to what have we got now? Tracy in Wiltshire. Hello, Tracy.
Hello. Good evening, Kev.
Hi.
Great show as usual.
Thank you very much. What would you like to say?
I'd like to say I do watch your show all the time. I despise the BBC. I haven't watched them for years, and I don't pay for my TV licence, and I will refuse to do so.
Because you don't watch it, you don't have to pay for it, do you?
No, and I don't agree with anything that they have to say, and everything that you've done today just exasperates. Sorry, is that the right word?
Exacerbates.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. We're being spoon-fed over the years of exactly what they want us to understand.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're like almost brainwashers. They try to indoctrinate us into their sort of left-wing North London dinner party circuit politics. And, most people aren't like that. You're exactly right.
No. Yeah, and probably my first point before I got into that, sorry, I do apologise, was listening to
Rachel
Reeves this morning, 26 minutes of utter...
Yeah, well, Kemi Badenoch uncharacteristically came up with the bon mot, the mot juste. She came up with a really good phrase for Rachel Reeves' droning speech blaming everyone else. She called it a waffle bomb, which is exactly what it was. It didn't mean anything, just trying to soften us up because she's going to go back on all her promises and tax the backside.
A month's time when she wants to tax us for everything, and I do get it. I can be not left, but you know.
Yeah, well, the point is she's going to break our promises. It's going to be a nightmare. She's going to ruin the economy. She already has. It's going to get worse. And that was a boring speech trying to say it wasn't her fault. Well, it is her fault. Tracy, good call. Thank you very much for ringing. Keep on watching. Thank you. Tracy in Wiltshire. That's about it. We are going to hand over the reins to Harry Cole. Saves the West over in Washington. That next. You've been an amazing audience. I've been me, mediocre guy as usual. I'll be back tomorrow for more of the same in the Political Asylum, right here on Talk at 7 p.m. I expect you to be there.
one of the candidates, Donald Trump, to make out that he said something which he did not say. That is outrageous. And when that is pointed out by someone whose job it is to look for that kind of malfeasance within the BBC to the chairman, they don't even get a reply. I mean, it's shocking, and yet somehow, you know, we've seen this kind of